Hey everyone, Luke here. Now before I get into the review, I just want to make a few quick announcements. I know the next chapter's out, chapter 121, and then I know that's come out today, but I'm going to leave that up for now because I really just want to focus on this review. And also I've been a little bit busy with a drama group that I've been helping run, obviously on a Saturday, and then on Mondays and Wednesdays I've been doing another drama group for myself personally, where we've been working towards building up a sketch show, which is going to be like 2 hours long. So obviously I've been focusing my attention on that. I've been still managing to get reviews out and the differences between the anime and the manga, but for now I just want to focus on this chapter, because this chapter, when I first read it, I was a bit like, do I really like this chapter? And now that the new chapters come out, I can finally say that it was basically set up for the next chapter. Like, this chapter was basically set up for the next chapter based on what happens in it. Now, before anybody comments anything, I know I did say before chapter 121, whatever. Basically, I meant chapter 121 for the chapter I'm going to be talking about today was basically set up for the next chapter, chapter 122. So don't comment that mistake. Like, I've just realised that myself. So anyway, let's get on with it. So this will be chapter number 121, titled "Isn't This Great?" And yeah, it's great that everybody's there and together and back together, but Emma might be a little bit unsure, and if you've read the latest chapter, chapter 122, you know exactly what I'm referring to here. And this was basically why I'm glad I waited until 122 came out so that I can actually look back on this chapter and think, like, is this a good chapter or not? And in setting up what happens in the next chapter, yes, but on its own, not so much. It's basically my least favourite chapter of the series so far. Yeah, there wasn't that. Yes, even though I'm a fanboy of the series, I can admit when chapters basically disappoint me. But that doesn't mean I don't still have a lot to say about it. So anyway, let's get into it. Oh, and something else to say. My dad's upstairs, so if you hear like just that's him. That's him talking up there, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't just go up there and say, "Dad, can you be quiet, please?" Because I still have to respect him. But anyway, let's get into the chapter. So it starts off with Emma basically relaying what she said in her mind, basically flashback into what she said in her mind about, I want to free all the children, I want all the farms gone, and I want to create a world where children aren't food. And she's basically relaying this in her mind because of what happens in the actual chapter itself, which is basically Norman stating that let's create it. If we destroy the farms, the demons will eventually go extinct. I'll end all of the demons, this Neverland, and the Matari clan. And basically Neverland, obviously a reference to the title of the series, The Promised Neverland. And Norman basically saying, like, this is his resolve. He wants to destroy all the demons and basically wipe out everything and create a new world for the cattle children to basically be free and not be food ever again. Now, even though Emma wants that as well, she wants it to be done without with the least bloodshed, and to see Norman going along with this idea of like, no, let's get rid of the demons, let's just wipe them out because they've been killing us, so it's about time we got our revenge, we got our own back. That's kind of like going against Emma's resolve, and it's kind of going to lead to like some conflict that's possibly going to be established between Emma and Norman in chapters coming up. As Emma is hearing what Norman is saying and basically being shocked on her face, like, you can see the actual shock on her face, like, she's bit taken back, like, okay, Norman, you're being a little bit too psychotic here, so can you please tone back and listen to what I've got to say here? So it's kind of like Emma's kind of still clinging on to that leadership position that she's had for so long, but Norman's kind of like swooped in, taken over and be like, this is my plan, this is what I've been doing, this is what I think we should be doing in this regard. And Norman continues to say that we don't have to run anymore, let's establish a paradise for all of us in this demon world. And before Emma can actually say anything, everyone's just like agreeing with it, like you can see like everybody cheering and going along with it, and this is the title page with Emma just being like in stunned shock about what's going on. Like, why are they being so eager to go along with Norman's plan, and they're not actually thinking rationally about what this could be ramifications of for their own morality as humans themselves. So I think Emma is at this point seeing like a little bit of like what the retired clan is doing in Norman, in the sense that he's trying to wipe out a a established race or established community of creatures that have like basically built themselves up and deserve a life of their own. I mean, Emma is not necessarily trying to save the demons, but she sees just her, but now she's seen, and she'll go into this in the next chapter, but she's seen how normal they've actually become and how they're an established race and they have a right to live just as much as we have a right to live, and the only reason why they are doing what they're doing is to survive, because if they don't, then they're basically going to regress to like mindless creatures, and she doesn't want that. She wants to find a peaceful solution to the situation where both races can coincide with each other without having to necessarily eat each other to survive. As several of the kids go on to say, this is amazing, we can defeat the demons, we just need to destroy the farms. Nigel goes on, I think it's Nigel, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is Nigel, goes on to say that I would have never imagined that we could kill all those strong demons. And we see like the psychoticness on his face, and this is the thing that I think Emma is sort of like picking up on. It's like their nature of trying to destroy the demons and just like find a peaceful way that they can survive themselves. It's kind of like taking their toll on them, and it's like, no, we are going to kill these demons and we are going to survive and we are going to do it. We are going to kill them and just rip them to shreds. And it's just kind of like, you just see the psychotic look on his face, like this whole situation of just fighting an endless war between humans and demons. It's kind of like basically losing their humanity themselves, and Emma is slowly picking up on this as she looks around and she sees and she actually sees this, and she's like really shocked, showing that yes, what they've been going through, even though they've been going through it to survive, they're basically just being as bad as the demons are to them, because they're actually killing off an established race that have intelligence, that have evolved, and they can speak on a level of humans, and they can kind of respect each other, not in the sense of humans can respect humans, but at least understand their point of view of where they're coming from and actually have conversations about it. And to see the humans being just as bloodthirsty to destroy the demons as the demons are with the humans, that's just like really shocking and surprising to Emma. And it just shows that despite everything, she still maintains her humanity, and she still sees the bigger picture of what's going on that everybody else can't at this moment in time. Pepe goes on to add to the situation and says that it's true that if we could really make this world one without demons, that would be the best way. And again, like I said in the last review, both sides have valid points. On the one hand, yes, if they did manage to get a world established without demons, then it would be a better place for them, so that they can actually develop and grow themselves and find new ways to evolve as humans. But on the one hand, they are an established race. The demons themselves, these creatures have grown to become their own people, and being like, okay, we're going to stay on our side and not interfere with you humans, but we're going to have humans that are in demon world as our source of survival. Basically how us as humans see meat, like pigs and cows and chickens, how the demons see us humans, and it's showing like, okay, these demons were that us humans were those demons' natural food source, and we basically give them ability to survive and grow and adapt and sort of like become our own people and survive and have fun and basically have families themselves. As Emma goes in and that shows like that basically the demons have grown their own society where they can have brothers, they can have fathers, they can have mothers, and they can survive as families as well, in the same way that Emma wants her family to survive as well. But it's kind of like a standstill here, and the moral grey area that this series is so good at establishing, like there's no real sense of the demons are evil, the demons are pure evil and the humans are pure good. Both of them have moral grey areas that they do cross into being evil with respect, or just psychotic evil. And the same thing with the humans as well, particularly with Nigel, how he's been like really psychotic about, we're going to destroy the demon. I never thought we'd be able to destroy those strong demons. Like that's kind of psychotic. And again with that girl who's part of Norman's elite guards, so to speak, with the other four basically much more developed of the experiments from Lambda, showing how psychotic she was when she was like, can I eat the demons? Can I just ravish them as well? And Gillian is an even better example, because as they continue to go on and say, yeah, we had doubts about the plan to run away to human world, because again, that's the thing that could have gone south either way. I don't think they are going to go into human world just yet. I feel like we are going to go into human world and see what happens, but but they do bring up points like, does the human world know of us, and would they actually accept them? Again, raising perfectly valid points that I've brought up, like if they actually did escape into human world, would they be seen as actual humans, or just like food for those demons and be sent back to demon world in the span of like 5 minutes? But anyway, going on to Julian, she goes on to say, with no demons, there would never be hunts or shipments again. We wouldn't be eaten, and we wouldn't have to be scared. And we see like her getting much more psychotic, which again goes back to Goldie Pond, where even though she's one of the more happier of the kids, there's times when she will just like really go for it and just be like, right, you've killed us, we're gonna kill you, no excuses. And when she just rips off the mask of Luke and just, without any remorse, just killed him, it shows that it's just showing the negative effects of war, how killing others to survive and to win a war, basically it just rips you of your humanity in certain places. And the fact that they've gone on for so long at this regard, it just seems natural to them that they want to find a solution to escape where they're not being hunted, where they're actually being the hunted and they can actually survive. And it's just like messing around with their brains and making them feel less human than what Emma actually is, where she can like see it from other angles, and even though she's fairly conflicted about it, she's trying to find the best route without anybody being pushed over the edge. But I feel like at some point she is going to be pushed over the edge herself. And again, as Emma is hearing this, she's feeling a lot more distressed and disappointed, again showing that she sees it a different way, and she's like kind of disappointed in everyone that they're just actually going along with Norman's plan without thinking about the possibilities from every angle, and again showing that she has not lost her humanity all the way. But they go on to discuss the Seven Walls, where they're saying like, I thought we were going to go there to make this a world where they wouldn't chase us, and I think it's Dawn, Dawn actually goes on to say that, well, that had risks and conditions, which Ray confirms and says, if we had a strategy to get rid of the demons, that would be more certain. Again, showing that both sides do have valid points, but again, it's more of a case of like, this is the more popular choice, and so Emma is sort of like going to go along with it, even though it's not in her nature to go along with things. She actually wants to confront things and see it from a different angle at times. So Emma is pushed back more into a corner as well when they actually say, isn't that great, Emma? All of the children could be saved. We could create a world where the children won't be food. And she just sees like all the little kids just being happy and being glad of this situation. But she's seeing it a different way. She's like, wait, you guys are just going to go along with this without thinking about things. And it's kind of like she's being pushed back, and she's like being forced to like make this decision. And again, this is sort of like what I wanted in chapter from this chapter. Like Emma, because Emma clearly does not want to go along with this. She clearly has other agendas, and seeing the latest chapter 1, 2, 2, that pretty much confirms that she is in that boat, that she didn't want this, but she went along with it because everybody else was kind of like forcing her hand, even though she's been the lead up to this point. The fact that Norman's here, like he has a proper strategy, they're kind of like, they've sort of like pushed Emma away, and she's kind of like disappointed in them. I feel like she's more disappointed in them, that they've kind of like brushed her aside and been like, no, we're going to go along with Norman's plan because it's a better plan than what Emma has. Pretty much that's what they're saying. And I feel like Emma seems like a little bit disheartened at this, and as the situation goes on, Emma continues like just like that bright-eyed expression, like, oh my god, I'm being outnumbered here. Like, there's nothing really I can do at this point. Everybody's sort of like agreeing with Norman when I'm supposed to be the leader. I'm supposed to be the strong big sister to these people, to these kids, and supposed to protect them. But at the same time, I want to protect them when we're in a world where they don't have to do the killing and they don't have to die. Like, she's kind of conflicting on that front because on one hand she wants to protect them all, but on the other hand she wants them all to be like, we don't have to do any killings. We can do this. We can find a solution without actually killing or destroying creatures and destroying our humanity as well. But the kids are like, no, Emma, Norman has the better idea. We have to go along with this. Right. You're on board with this. Are you on board with this? It's kind of like, and they go on to say this is the most certain way. He'll defeat the demons and the Ratari clan, and we can all live in happiness like the kids who live at this base. And they're kind of like pushing Norman's ideal onto her, even though she doesn't agree with it, by just thinking about like, protect the kids, which is kind of a realistic thing. But I'm going to relay a story here to you guys. Now, I'm not going to give out the full details, but basically, I was kind of like pushed in at some point in the past. I was kind of like pushed into certain situations, and all the people, and even though I didn't agree, even though now looking back on it, I don't agree with what was happening, I was kind of like pushed into it because they were like, think of the kids. It's kind of that. It's kind of like what's happening here with Emma. I was kind of like forced into a decision that, that in retrospect, if I didn't like, but I went along with it because all I was thinking about was protecting those kids, and it kind of like backfired on me in a big way. I'm not going to give away all the details, but that's kind of like what Emma's happening here. Like, she wants her ideals and she wants her ideas to be brought to the forefront and being considered, but everybody else is basically abandoning her for Norman's plan, even though they've been with Emma much longer than Norman, and they're not seeing the bigger picture of what's going on with Norman and why he's being like he is. And Gilda even goes on to agree with this, and she's like, Gilda too? And Emma is just like, you just see like this expression of, I can't believe everybody is going on with it, but I guess I really don't have any choice in the matter. And continuing on, Gilda goes on to say that this way you won't have to have such a huge burden, Emma. And this actually shocks Emma because I feel like she just got so committed to that role of leadership that she kind of didn't see it as a burden. I feel like Emma didn't see it as a burden. I feel like she was, because she never really saw that as a burden. She was like, I want to protect everyone. I want to do this. I want to protect you guys. I want to put my life on the line for you guys. And the fact that they're saying like, oh, you don't have to do that anymore, that kind of like, I feel like that kind of hurt her in a bit, like saying like, am I not worthy? Am I not worthy to protect you guys? Am I just, is my leadership bad? I understand you guys don't want this to be a heavy responsibility on me, but I feel like I have to do this. I'm responsible for you guys because I got you into this mess. It was my decision to escape with everyone, so I feel like I have to be responsible. I have to take those consequences to my actions. And see Gilda saying something like that, I feel like that kind of hurt her a little bit inside. As Oliver and Violet continue on, they say, in pain and suffering, you brought us this far. You can finally get some of the weight off your shoulders. And as long as they have Norman, we also have strength. Let's make this time for sure a future where we won't lose anyone. And we see Emma sort of like going through her mind, like, that's right, don't hesitate. The future I want. And everyone's saying, this is great. And I'm glad for you, Emma. And Emma slowly sort of like reluctantly agrees to them. Like, we see a panel of her just going, yeah, but we don't actually see any expression on her face, and that could mean, and that pretty much means like, even though I'm going along with this, I don't agree with it 100%, and I feel like you guys shouldn't agree with it 100% yourselves as well. You're going far too far with Norman's plan without thinking about the consequence of what that could be ramifications of. And Norman, he may be smarter now, but in this case, I feel like he's become a lot more illogical in the sense of thinking about a bigger picture. Like, he's only fixated on this one idea of like, we're destroying the farms, we're destroying the demons, we're destroying everything, we don't care about them, we don't care about their families. And I feel like he's going down the same path like what the demons are, like not thinking of the demons as actual people with personalities and with families themselves, but thinking of them as creatures, like basically like what the demons think of the humans. Like, he's thinking of the demons like that without coming to like a solution, like maybe they have families themselves in the same way that Emma found out that they have families and they have brothers and sisters and that, and especially in the next chapter when she mentions Musica, I feel like that's still going to come into play. Like Emma's going to bring that up, like, look, we've made friends with demons, they can be reasoned with, we can find solutions, and I feel like Norman's just not going to listen to that. He's just going to be like, they're all evil, they're all evil scum, they need to die, in the same way that the demons felt like the humans were just pieces of meat and they couldn't think or feel or have personalities in the same way that they had. So it's kind of like that moral grey area that the series is always constantly walking the tightrope with. So as Norman goes on to say, well then, we can discuss this further at a later time, and I feel like that is going to be discussed further at a later time, more even quicker than Norman thinks, and we'll get into that in a moment. He goes on to say, but you're all tired today, so go and get some rest. I've prepared rooms for you. Let me take you there. And you see before he actually says this, you see a panel of Ray just like off to the side, just thinking to himself, and based on what happens in the next chapter, Ray's probably thinking like, yeah, Norman's not the same as what he was 2 years ago, which again, that's true. Like, the experiments have probably changed him for the worse in Ray's eyes, and especially in Emma's eyes. And the fact that he's just come along and just taken over and just been like, right, I'm the boss of this, you're going to listen to me. I feel like that's kind of like not just her Emma's feelings, but also Ray's feelings of the fact like, are we a team here? We planned an escape together and we succeeded by working together as a team, but the fact that you're just sort of coming in and taking over and not discussing things with us as a matter of urgency, I feel like that's something that you should really be taking into consideration, Norman. But of course, Norman's not listening to Ray. He's just being like, I'm just glad everybody's alive, you can go and get rest and we can discuss this further, but we're still going to destroy the demons. He's fixated on that angle of destroying demons that I feel like Emma and Ray have sort of like lost a little bit of faith in Norman at this point. As Norman leaves the kids out of his office to go and find them rooms, everybody that's basically seen him as Mr. Minerva is like, boss! Oh, and Norman's like, oh, don't worry, at ease, everyone. And everyone's like, it's the boss. What, Mr. Minerva? What's he doing here? And Don goes on to say, Norman, everybody's super surprised. And Norman chuckles it off and says, this is rare. I'm usually coped up in my room. And and I discussed this on Discord with a lot of people. And it's basically how people perceive others. Like if you actually see if you actually see someone like just off the top of my head, like Gordon Ramsay, or just anyone that you've seen as like this one fixated personality, as like this stern, hardcore, straight to the point person, and to see them in this like cheery manner out with people, it's kind of like a bit jarring for them, and in the same way that it is for the kids that have seen Norman as Mr. Minerva, and it's like this serious person to seem like just happily cheering with kids. It seems like a little bit of like a jarring situation for them. So Norman leads them to like some spare rooms and a house, and they're all like, it's so clean, it's warm, and it's soft, and come over here, there's a bathroom, there's a kitchen, and a huge living room, yes, and bravo, and so on. I just love that. Like, I feel like it's Nate, just like screaming like, oh, it's a toilet. Like that part is just like hilarious. Like, cause they've been out in the wilderness for quite a while at this point. Just on the run from from when the shower was destroyed. I feel like just like someone like, finally, I don't have to shit or piss in the woods. I can finally have a real toilet with real toilet paper. I just find that absolutely, like, nobody has like just like given so much amazement at just like putting a toilet on a pedestal of like, this is a gift from the gods, thank you. So yeah, that part is just like hilarious in my regard. So as they're celebrating the fact that they're actually back in a house, no one goes on to say, you can use this and the next building as much as you want for now, and I'll prepare your food soon. And they go on to say, thank you, sir, and just like bowing to Norman. And Emma's thinking like, everybody's starting to act like Hayato. Again, showing the fact that Norman has just basically waltzed in here, being like, I'm the boss, I'm the king. You should address me like that. Showing them respect. Showing them respect, that's fine. But it's kind of like Emma's like thinking like, they're getting like sort of like manipulated into this relatively quickly without thinking about what the bigger picture could actually be. And the fact that they're calling their brother sir, that's kind of like a bit like well, should we really be calling him it? I mean, we've called him Norman, like, and now we've got to call him Sir. It's like, well, that's kind of like a big sort of like giant change for it. It's sort of like when you've called your teachers Sir or Miss for so long, and then when you meet them when they're adults, and you start calling them by the first name, it just feels weird, and it's just like weird here for Emma, like they're just like calling him Sir when they've just called him Norman for so long. It's just really weird in that regard. And this is further emphasised when the little kids come over to Norman and he's like, what's wrong? And they're like, you're the boss, right? Hatsui said that the boss is like a god, and everybody was surprised earlier. You're an amazing person with this amazing base, and you're winning Minerva now. What are we supposed to call you? Mr. Minerva or boss? And they're just like praying that he's still on the same level of them, like they can still joke around with him, like even though he's become like the stern, serious boss and he has to be the leader and he has to protect them, they're wondering like, can we still be the same with you as we are with Emma? And the fact that Norman actually sees this is like it showing again that he hasn't lost all of his humanity. I mean, he might have lost most of it, but the fact that he like understands like, okay, the kids, they've just been like thrown into this situation where all of a sudden I have to be now addressed as the boss. I have to be like the leader of this entire faction, of this entire organization. Of like, what do they call him? Do they call him Mr. Minerva or boss? Again, in the same way of like, I feel like it's the same way of how a child that has their mother as their teacher, like they go to the same school as their mother teaches them, and they go into the same class as teacher, and like, what do they call him? Do they call him Sir, Miss, or Mom, or whatever? It's kind of like in that same regard, and it would probably be even weirder if like you had a brother who was like 20 years old, and then you had a sister who was like 10 years old, and the brother was like the teacher. It's like, who do you call him? Do you call him Sir, or do you call him like their actual first name? And this moment like actually reminds me of when I went to do a sort of like a program at my old high school, and when people were like saying like, where my sister was at, like when I was in college, my sister was in the high school, and it was like people were like, oh, should we call you Rosie's brother or what? It was like, no, I don't like being called Mr. Perchek. Just Luke's fine. That's kind of like the same thing. That's kind of like the same thing here. It's like Norman goes on to say, let's see. In front of a lot of people, sometimes boss might be better, and to Hatsui and them, I am Willie Minerva, but I am Norman. Again, showing like how people view other people. Like even though he's the boss to everyone else, he's still Norman, their big brother, and he allows them to call him that. And he goes on to say, no matter what my position, even if I've grown taller than the house, I am me, the Norman you've known. And they go, really? Yes, really. So come on. And they're like just jump into his arms, and Hatsui leaves Anna and Sonia. Yeah, I think it is Sonia, the one with the bandana, although Sonia might be the one that's the second in command with the glasses. Was it Sonia? I think it was Sonia. I think it is Sonia. As Hatsui's leading them two in, we see Norman just being like just scrambled by all the little kids, and he goes, "Oh, hi Anna, how are Chrissy and them doing?" And we just see like the shocked expression on their faces. So it's like it's like Sandy, Sonia, Anna, and Hatsui, and I just love the expressions on the faces. Like Hatsui's like just like, huh? Like, is this really the same person? That's my boss. And Anna's just like the blank expression, like. And she just starts bawling her eyes out, just like, because again she was being treated to before, so she didn't actually see Norman in the same way that everybody else saw him, and she's just like bawling her eyes out and crying like, oh my god, Norman's alive, he's alive, and then we see just like Sandy going like, is this really Mr. Minerva? What's going on here? Because again, it's like people perceive people from how they've seen them firsthand. So it's like they've all seen like Hatsui's seen Norman as like just Willie Minerva, the stern boss, the straight up boss, the no nonsense boss, and Sandy has been led to believe that Mr. Minerva is just like this god figure, and to see him like just like being scrambled by all these kids, it's just like a complete setback for them, in the same way that Sonia is as well. I feel like that's the first like expression she's given that's like not just like stern. I'm the stern one with the bandana around my face. But yeah, just seeing Anna's just like expression and being reminded of Emma, just makes it so much perfect. And again, this perfection cannot last for very long. And I feel like there is going to be a point where Norman's nature and Norman's shadiness is actually going to be confronted. So after everybody has basically calmed down and given a chance to like breathe, we see them at a table, just basically reminiscent of where they were at Gracefield House, as everybody is just like ecstatic that they can actually eat. That they can actually eat proper food again after like about basically 2 weeks on the run from the demons and from the Matari clan, and basically worrying about if Christie's actually gonna survive. And Norman says, "Go ahead, please eat. No need to hold back." And Emma's like, "Can we eat so much more? Can we eat so much? Are you sure there's enough for everyone else?" And Norman's like, "Don't worry, there is. So eat as much as you want until you're full." And everybody's just like looking shocked and surprised, like, really? We can? Okay. And so like, thanks for the food. And we see like just various different reactions to it. So we see Don, Tongma and Limey being like more like, yeah, we get to eat real food. We get to eat real food. Now, again, the food, I feel like this food here might be I'm not gonna go down this theory because I'm not dead certain on this theory, but I feel like some of the food here might actually be demon skin and demon pieces of demon slab themselves. So again, it might add to the moral dilemma of like the demons are eating us and we're eating the demons, right? We're actually eating their flesh as well. So it's kind of like, what line do you draw here? Now, I'm not saying this theory might actually come into fruition, but judging by how much food is there, I feel like there has to be some way they're getting all this food from somewhere. There has to be some way, and the only way that I can truly come to grips with it is like if they're actually eating the demons themselves as well. Again, I don't want to go down that road, but that might be something that we might have to think about if Norman's clan is actually eating the demons as well, and Emma and Ray and everyone else doesn't actually know about it. But again, just seeing like this image of everyone here, like basically in a shred of happiness, it makes you feel like really glad that they're actually safe for the moment. Although there might be different defining factions that are coming in regards to Norman's shadiness. So we get Emma's narration, and this is something that, again, I want to bring up about why I love this series, because we're hearing Emma's narration as if as similar to My Hero Academia, how we're hearing the story as if Emma is retelling the story, which again, it takes away a little bit of the tension of like if Emma's actually gonna die, because she's actually retelling the story as if it's in the future, in the same way that My Hero Academia is retelling the story. It's sort of like an autobiography or like a best-selling novel in this case. And with The Promised Neverland, it's no exception. But again, the reason why I want to say that is because the fact that we're hearing this from Emma's side. Again, going back to what was said in the one of my major problems with the anime is that we've got no narration, no inner thoughts, and the fact that we get this a lot in The Promised Neverland allows us to become more invested in the characters because we're understanding what they're feeling, and it's almost as if like we're actually becoming the characters themselves as well as establishing them as their own personal characters, and that's something that the anime just lacks on in my own personal opinion. I didn't want this to become like another video of like why the manga is better than the anime. I just wanted to say that that's my own personal major issue with the anime. But anyway, going back to it, Emma goes on to say in her narration, the food we ate together was delicious. We talked a lot and we laughed until our stomachs were full. Laughing a lot makes you cheer up, and again we see an image of Emma like actually laughing, but again like she's trying to hold back something here. Like you can see like her she's like that. She's sort of like that. Like she wants to like just burst out crying, I think. And again, going to what Norman was saying about just like destroying the demons, like she's trying to hold back that thought because she doesn't want to upset everyone else. It's just kind of like being outnumbered in terms of voting system about what the best idea is. And to see her like this, to see her like holding back, it's kind of like really heartbreaking in a sense, because she's always been a character that's been like she wants to confront people about her ideals, and to see her being like actually having to draw back on that regard, it just makes her feel, I feel like, a little bit upset inside. So after the meal, we see Emma, Ray, and Norman all together in a room, and Norman going, having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Your family is full of great people. And notice how he says your family, not our family is so much great. Your family, again showing just how disconnected Norman is at this point, and how he hasn't been there for 2 years, so he hasn't been through all the horrors that they have actually been. And I feel like if he went through all the horrors, but also saw how we can actually communicate with the demons and cooperate with them, I feel like he would have a completely different aspect on what he's thinking right now. And this is further evidence the fact that Ray is off to the side. He's not talking, but he's obviously thinking about, this isn't right. This isn't the Norman that we know. Even though I know Emma's putting on an act at this point, and she clearly is, because she's like, I'm glad you really haven't changed. It's you, Norman. You're alive and next to me. And we can see her just like she wants to be happy. But at the same time, she wants to confront him about something, but she knows that now is not the time to do it. But again, the expressions on her face clearly shows that she is hiding something, and Ray can easily pick up on this. Ray at this point knows that something is wrong, because Emma would not go along with something if it knew that it affected her own ideals and her own ideology. She knows that she would stand up to that, even it doesn't matter who it is, but the fact that it's not just one of her closest friends, but basically the closest thing that basically closer than anybody else is to a brother. Like, she wants to believe in him, and she wants to believe that this is the right thing, but at the same time she's kind of like holding back at this point, and you can clearly tell on the expressions on her face. She goes on to say that it's a waste to go to sleep, and at this point I thought we were going to get some confrontation going on here, but no, it turns out it's like, let's play another round, this time with Ray. And it's like, Ray's like, what? And it just shows them like just getting out a chessboard, like, we want to play a game of chess. And again, I thought there was going to be a bit of confrontation, but I feel like at this point Emma knows, like, we just need to relax at this moment, just get our heads together, and then we can actually confront these issues later on. As Emma and Ray and Norman go to play a game of chess, we get a narration that's saying, the night was really fun, and I forgot everything that was scary and painful. And we see some of the kids go, I think this is Sonia. Oh, who's the name of the girl with the bandana? Like, you'll know the one that I'm thinking of. The one with the bandana. I feel like this girl here with Gillian is Sonia. I'm trying to remember the name of the girl with the bandana. I mean, I remember her face, but it's like now I can't remember like what her actual name was. I mean, people will probably remind me, and I feel like an idiot for not remembering her name. But anyway, they go, oh, look at that. They look so happy. Don't catch a cold. And that's where the chapter ends, when we see Emma, Ray, and Norman just passed out together and just sleeping. So again, like I said, when I first read this chapter, I didn't know what to think of it, and I was debating for it. Like, did I like this chapter? Did I not like this chapter? But after seeing and actually doing the review of it, I feel like I understand it a little bit more. Like, it's, even though it's set for 1-2-2, the subtle hints of like something is wrong, and Emma is kind of like being pushed into that decision made by Norman. I feel like that's gonna be brought up, not in the next chapter, because I've read the next chapter, but the chapters further on. I feel like Emma and Ray, they're gonna be like, no, we need to confront Norman about this. We need to find out what his shady nature is, because this is not right. Norman is not acting the way he would have acted back in Graceful House. Something is definitely wrong there. And I feel like at some point Norman's gonna be like slowly manipulating them again into sort of like thinking of his ideals, but I feel like at that point they're going to be like, no, we have made friends with demons, we can make friends with demons, we don't have to kill every single last one of these demons in order to survive in this world. We can come to a compromise if there has to be another way. But I feel like Norman is going to be like, no, there is no way, we need to kill the demons. You've seen what they've done, Emma, you saw what they did to Connie. I feel like he's going to bring up Connie. He is going to bring up Connie at some point and say, like, you saw what they did to Connie, Emma. How can you justify now after everything you've been through, how can you justify not killing them? And Emma's going to be like, look, I understand that we have to kill the demons in order to survive, because if we're not going to kill them, they're going to kill us. But at the same time, we don't have to kill every single last one of them. We can come to a solution, but I feel like no one's going to no solution. You're listening to me, Emma, otherwise you can just leave. And I feel like at that point, they're just going to snap at each other. Like, they're just going to be a big argument, and they're just going to leave, and they're just going to split up into different factions. And Emma's going to be like taking some of the kids, and Norman's going to be taking everybody else, and everybody is going to like turn on each other because of their ideals with each other. But I feel like that's going to happen not in the next chapter, but in the chapters after that. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. And on Sunday I will be doing the what's the difference between Promised Neverland anime and manga. That'll be episode 5, and I don't know when that's gonna where that's gonna end up. And then on Monday I'm gonna be doing chapter 122. So anyway, guys, this has been Asher Luke signing off. Later, guys.